Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Seasoned, the Battle Rap podcast where we talk that shit. I'm your host, Juice, and as always, with me is my co host, Vito.
What's good? What's good?
Today, we've got a busy week. We've got a busy week indeed. We're going to
Yeah, we
cover
do.
some of our headlining battles that have been announced. We've got Daylight and Mickey Fax. We're going to cover very briefly some Shocks and Briz. And we've got a good bit of battles we'll go over as well. And now that we're into June, we're going to also talk about our top battlers and battles halfway through the year. So let's get right into it. Anywhere you want to kick off today, Vito?
Let's just start with Daylight and Mickey Facts. I'm not the most interested in this out of all the stuff we've got today, so let's start there.
All right, that's fair. Why don't you? Why would you say you're not interested? Let's start there.
Well, okay. Imagine yourself as the average battle rap fan.
Sure.
You don't know a thing about Mickey Facts. Mickey Facts doesn't even have many battles on cam for you to
All right,
know
right.
anything about
Very
Mickey
hard to
Facts.
be on his radar.
And that's not a problem, like, from a technical standpoint. It doesn't mean he's not a good battler. It doesn't mean he's not skilled at what he does. It's just doesn't draw me in to watch another Daylight battle, you know?
Okay. I guess my question there, most importantly, would be if any battler in the world probably does not need the draw of his opponent to draw attention to his battle, wouldn't you say it's probably Daylight?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I think there's got to be some other thing that's going on with this battle. I know that Daylight and Mickey Fax are friends. For anyone who's not aware of Mickey Fax, he's been around for a long time. He does have a few battles on cam. I think the one that people are probably most familiar with that Vito and I both watched was against Danger, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
This
And
was
I
pre
mean,
2015 Danger too.
yeah, it was the big boy Danger. He was still wearing his Timbs and looking pudgy,
Mm.
and it wasn't that great of a battle. It was a one rounder, right? And I remember thinking, God, when is this gonna end? Like, I mean,
Yeah, that went
it,
on forever.
yeah, there was, not to say that there wasn't any gems within Mickey's writing, but
There were like a few.
right. But for as long of a battle as that was, it just didn't. If I were to tell someone, "Hey, go watch this," and then get psyched for Mickey Fax and Daylight, I don't think it would translate.
No, definitely not.
Oh, so hopefully, I mean, he definitely has the talent. Like you were saying before, he's recruited a lot of the top guys that we've seen. Ill Will, Be Magic, Chilla. That pretty much just looks like almost that whole PG class, honestly.
Which I'll say we owe him a debt for. An
Oh, for
absolute
sure.
debt.
I'll give you enough that instead of booing after 3 seconds of nothing, I'll give him a 5 second buffer just because of what he's brought to the table.
Talk
That's
that
what I'll give him.
shit, Juice.
I'll give him an extra 2 seconds. That's what he gets.
He gets
But
four
no.
bars of no material from me.
Four
Only
filler bars.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. He's getting an extra 2 seconds before I'll start booing in the crowd, and he gets a little bit of filler from you before we lose patience.
On that same note, you might be in the building.
Yeah, I think I'm probably gonna go. I was hoping that I was gonna be able to kind of help and assist the KOTD staff a little bit with some work, but it looks like they don't need me, which might kind of be a blessing, I guess. I might be better to just kind of go out there and enjoy it rather than having to be running around too.
I feel that. On that same note, again, I might also be in the building for that.
Yes, sir. I hope you are. I hope you are.
I might also be around for that. That sounds like
That
something I
would
need
be.
to.
I
need
think
to
it's
be there
what,
for.
$50 for tickets, unless you're going VIP for like 180 or whatever it is.
What do I need VIP to KOTD event for?
I'm gonna be honest. There's several people that will be there that I think, at least I know well enough that I can walk up to them, talk to them, get a drink with them, and feel like I'm in VIP. So I don't really care.
And if you can do that, I can do that.
Yep, you're coming right along if you're there. So we're in
Alright.
it.
Back on it
So
though.
what-
So
What do you think? I mean, we've talked about Mickey. Do we think, first of all, we're going to get a serious Daylight? I mean, I think with the fact that he's got the album out, he's kind of going to be.
I'm gonna be
Continuing
completely
to promote.
honest with you about that. Actually, Daylight hasn't done fuck shit in quite some time, and people just kind of don't
Always
notice.
ask.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
stopped getting gimmick Daylight a long time ago. A long time
You're right.
ago. He said at the start of 2015 he was only gonna rap. And he's done that since.
Yeah, no, you're right. I guess I do have to give that to you. I think it's just that like
We know what we've
hanging
got.
looming shadow over it. Yeah, exactly. Where you always kind of have to worry, and then when you get a name, there's always a little more assurance. Like when he's got a big battler, that okay, we're probably going to see him come correct and
That's not
bring a good
true.
delay.
That's not true.
Well, exactly. I guess the inverse to that is like when they announced Cortez, a lot of people were significantly worried. Like, great, what's he going to do to Cortez? Or what's he's
Even more
antic.
so, it's just like when he was in his antic phase, it didn't matter how big the stage platform or battle was. If he was going to do an antic, he was going to do an antic.
Right. So what do you think? I mean, I know we don't have a whole lot to judge Mickey Fax off of, but I mean, is there any way anyone is giving Mickey Fax his battle?
No.
Yeah.
Well, let me rephrase that. No, if you're an average battle fan. Yes, if you know something we don't, which some people might.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, the matchup itself is so strange to me that the whole narrative that maybe there's something we don't know makes total sense.
Yeah, like maybe Mickey's got shit in the chamber that we just have never heard before, which I'm willing to believe.
I hope so. I hope so. That would be awesome.
But
what would be better than seeing a great Daylight and Mickey Fax battle at Mass?
Exactly. But all that aside, given what I know, I'm gonna give this a 30 to Daylight clean.
Yep, I'm gonna have to agree with you. Even with this new era Daylight that we've been seeing, where it's a lot more rappy in the style of his music, a lot less direct. You're not getting a whole lot of name flips and things, which I kind of miss. And I think Daylight was very good at it, but I still am enjoying what he's bringing regardless.
Yeah. Something else, though, is that I don't think Daylight will turn up for this battle. It'll be a clear 3-0 just because it's Daylight's material against Mickey Fax's material. But I don't think he's going to go so hard as to body Mickey Fax. He'll just go hard enough to win 3 times.
And I see that. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I'm predicting the 30 with you as far as how hard or not Daylight comes. Pause. I'm not really sure. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
So let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about an announcement that is very near and dear to my heart. We're talking about probably, I'll say maybe not my favorite, but top 3 favorite on URL and my easily favorite on Don't Flop, Shocks versus Briz Rothstein.
I could not express to you how excited I am for this battle. I really can't. One, because it's another Briz battle, and I fucking love Briz Rothstein, which is no secret.
Yeah, Briz has definitely got to be one of the favorites out there.
But it's another reason I'm loving it is because Shocks is different, man.
Shocks is...
It's like if Av was somehow better.
Like better creatively layered writing, but still building to these incredible haymakers.
Constantly, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Av on nitty mode every battle.
Yeah, I think Shocks is... we know he's the champ. He's the first person to dethrone Soul in several attempts.
That is a feat, man.
Yeah, that's, as we'll segue into later, one of the battles of the year so far for sure. Mm-hmm. And every time we see Shocks, he just shows up. I've been following him since his early battles where I didn't know him or the guy he was battling. And to hear that we had a New Jersey twerk cancellation was a bummer, but then to hear that the replacement was Briz, to me, that's an upgrade for everybody.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Actually, something about Shocks is like,
go ahead.
I hadn't seen him for the first time until his battle with Tony. And he had a quotable to me in one battle. I will forever remember this bar because of how fucking good it is. Either I'll kill him with the pros or it's Indiana Jones. I break in his temple and use the whip to escape. That's crazy.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes. I don't know. I know I introduced you to Shocks and Koj when we were just killing some time one day. I can't remember if I watched Tony D with you too, but any battle with there's no battle from Shocks that I haven't watched at least 3 or 4 times. Like, he's someone that you have to watch on rewatches because of how good his writing is, and also just because of the fact that it's enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely.
Now we've done a fair bit of talking about Shocks. We're both huge Briz fans, so without sounding like we're too much of stans, I mean, let's talk about Briz a little bit.
Well, I mean, what can you say that hasn't been said? He has every aspect of a battler, and in
I,
spades at that.
I think he's probably the most versatile person on URL right now. He's got a clean mixture of aggression with excellent bars. He can perform the hell out of any line that he wants.
He can be disrespectful.
He can be, and he's humorous. I mean, there's nothing
He's
that
got
in
credibility.
every battle.
He's got the real nigga attitude, the aura.
Yeah, he just
The
everything
torture
that he
bars.
brings to the table is top notch, and it seems like we haven't even highlighted on the fact that he's on arguably one of the best winning streaks in battle rap, if not the best.
Also factual.
I mean, two things are bound to happen. Something is eventually going to stunt this win streak because it always does,
Which is
and
sad.
it is. And if it is this battle, it's going to be a hell of a battle throughout, regardless.
Now, let me go on that for a second, because this battle's happening in the UK, and one thing that you can universally agree upon is that Don't Flop loves their battlers. They
Yes.
really do.
But
They
I
love
think
their
they
battlers
might
even
actually
more.
love the URL. I mean, we saw Hitman and Verb when they were over there, and they do love URL battlers quite a bit too.
This is true.
I
And
don't
I actually
know.
think they'll love Briz a lot, because Briz will probably get his humor out for them some too.
Yeah, I think Briz will have no problem translating well over there.
That's not the problem. More, I'm
I
afraid they'll gas Shocks.
Yeah, I mean, especially now that he's their current champ, it's possible. But I think
It'll be
I have
deserved.
enough. Well, that is one thing, but I also think I have enough faith in Briz as a good battler, a great battler, that he is clearly not going to go into this knowing like he's going to have to win over the crowd in some way. And I think he's got the assets and the versatility to do that.
All right, I can fuck with that.
I calling this battle is
2-1 Briz.
Oh, okay,
2-1
okay.
Briz.
The tough guy comes out and has the immediate call. He knows.
I've been thinking about this for so long, dude, and that's the best I can do. But I can explain it if you need me to.
You know what? I'm going to. Oh, damn it! I don't want to go against Briz.
It's hard.
Just
hard.
just for the sake of argument, and this is 75% me just wanting to be the opposite opinion for the podcast.
Fair.
But I'm gonna say Shocks, and I can also say that that's 25% me knowing that Shocks is so good that he could 100% take this battle.
Let me ask you
So
something really quickly.
yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off before your prediction,
No.
but do you think that this is good exposure for Shocks? Will URL fans watch this battle? Now, I think they should, because there's gonna be gun bars all over it. All over it. Shocks is the URL version
it
of a
certainly
URL,
can't hurt.
the UK version of a URL battler.
Right. It certainly can't hurt. I mean, Briz is a big name. URL is the biggest platform. If people are just sitting there searching for, or on Verse Tracker and see Briz Rothstein, even if they've never watched a single Don't Flop battle, they might click on it. And the benefit to that is Shocks is so good, and I can guarantee that he would appeal so well to so many of the URL fans that they might stick around for the whole battle. So I think it is probably good exposure. I don't know how much I would use the word exposure simply because I don't know how many URL fans are going to come and click on a Don't Flop battle.
Mhm.
Whereas if it was on URL, it'd be much easier to say, oh, this is fantastic exposure.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a drawback at all because they're both big names. They're both rising and kind of at the top of their game right now.
Very true.
And on top of that, it's going to be a fantastic battle. I would be very surprised to see anything but that.
Now, let's run hypotheticals. What if Shocks clearly wins? What does that do for him? And what can we say?
What does it do for Shocks? I
Mhm.
mean, it depends, I guess, where Shocks, does it set Shocks up for another URL battler and more exposure? Yeah, probably. I would say it probably does that. I mean, he's already the champ, though. So, I mean, what does it do in terms for like another battle for him in his league? I don't really know.
Probably not a lot.
Right. I think if he clearly beats Briz, there's no doubt that either someone on URL is going to call out Shocks, or Shocks is going to have another call out for someone on URL of some sort, you
The
know?
problem with that, though, is that Shocks can't cross the border.
Right.
Well,
Well, you never know. I mean, we'll see what somehow I mean, Briz is getting over there. Who's to say we can't get another battle in the future of like a T-Top or Shocks
see,
or
and I don't have a problem with that, but I want to see people make it to URL, and I really do hate pushing this narrative of URL as the NBA of battle rap, but I'm also not delusional.
right.
So
No, no. I mean, I guess, the problem is nothing that we want or can do about it would change how it ends up going. So,
yeah,
ideally, I would love to see, in a perfect world, Shocks, whether he wins or loses this battle, the battle is so close and the credibility rises so much for him that that URL wants him to come over and he can. But obviously, due to other variables in life, that's not possible. So,
not trying to reopen cases out here.
exactly. Exactly. So, all right, I'm gonna say 2-1 Shocks just to be the other
Dissenting
side.
opinion, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone. This is a 3-0 fans. If both of these guys come, how they've been coming for a while.
Pause.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. You
All
want to
right.
get into our list, or you want to get into some battles first?
Let's get into the list. Let's go to the list.
All right. So, I mean, here we are. It's June 13th. I mean, we're pretty close to almost dead center of the year. And I try to do this pretty much every year, a list of just, some of the top battles and of course the top battlers of the year. So, I've got a few here that I'll run by you and see what you think.
All right.
Obviously, we've got Topper versus Thesaurus. That battle, for anyone who hasn't seen, is a battle of two. That battle could have happened 15, 20 years ago in reality, which is mind-blowing in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a battle on Battle of the Zay, which is Dirtbag Dan's league that's been around for a while, but actually since the drop-off of the bunker has actually been booking some relevant and decent battles.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's got I mean, the Royal Rumble that he has coming up in the Battle of the Zay 8 includes Ilmac, Marv One, a couple other really big names, I think, too. He's just been able to pick off, a little battle like this here and there, like a reverse live versus Thesaurus is the main event for Battle of the Zay 8. That's kind of a daddy versus son look right there.
I feel it.
And, he's just obviously helping push forward the culture. And this battle here was just a perfect mixture of two friends with great clashes of similar style and tons of history. It was like a grind time-esque vibe in the room.
Head ice
Everyone was
reactions.
enjoying it. Yeah, and if that doesn't all sell it for you, a drunk head ice in the front row that is loving the battle should be enough to get you to go watch it.
See, I actually love that about any battle. If you've got battle rappers in the front reacting hard as fuck.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like Arsenal and Big T versus Head Ice, I love that because they appreciate bars in a way that fans just don't.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Daylight's third round against Averb is the amount of people on the stage. There's Bricks Belvedere and Danny Myers and Bourne and a few other guys that are literally just in awe. Even Verb is telling Daylight to just keep going. And that's, like you said, getting a cosign on stage from the other rappers is, I think, the highest form of flattery.
Yeah, I believe that.
So what are your thoughts on Topper versus Thesaurus? I know you've seen it.
Compared to the other battles I've seen this year, it's underwhelming. And let me not say that because it's a bad battle.
Fair.
It's because it's not people I normally check for. I check for the
That's
Soros.
kind of what I figured.
I had never heard of Topper before this because I don't come from Scribble Jam, I'm post Scribble Jam. I've gone back and looked into it, but not enough to know who everyone that participated.
You were too young to even operate a computer when Scribble Jam battles were coming out.
What is that, like 04? You better stop. Nigga, I was not that young, and I was on computers. Better ask about me. Anyway.
That's facts.
But, I'm not checking for Topper. So it's not
necessarily your scene, so to speak.
No, not really. That doesn't make it not a good battle, though. It's a great battle.
And I think, would you say that at least you can appreciate the environment
Oh
that's
yeah,
kind of surrounding this battle?
I've watched a lot of the grind time battles. Like that, I did study pretty closely,
Hmm.
and I loved the vibe of grind time back in the day.
That's how what got me into battling was the grind time. That's how I stumbled across it. So I'm
Diz
definitely with
versus
you on
DNA got me into battling.
that.
This is my first battle.
As long as it's not the rematch, it's not that bad.
The rematch isn't even that bad.
If someone comes to us and tells us Diz versus DNA rematch is what got them into battling, I'm just gonna kindly show them the door, though. That's the
Yeah, yeah, okay.
thing.
You're too much of a new fan at that
Yeah,
point
that's cool. Come back in a year after you've watched 150 battles that came before that.
because you really will have needed to.
Yeah, shout out to our subreddit at www.reddit.com/rap battles that has our top 100 list. Go watch that at least, and then come back to me and we can have a conversation.
Honestly, that's essential. That's like essential reading for battle rap fans that are new. You should
Mm-hmm.
read that top 100 list. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
important battles on there.
Yeah, and a lot of it will. A lot of those are not even just important, but the references that get made nowadays to some of those historical battles will really bump up your level of catching bars.
Also, shout outs to Minnesota Luke. Get your battle rap history game up.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, in terms of old tapes and information and just facts that you would find nowhere else, he might be the goat.
Yep. All right, but back to this list of yours, though.
Yes, sir. So we've got Topper and Thesaurus up next. JC and Trez.
Yeah,
JC
that
and Trez
battle's
happened on
fire.
BL5. It was the first event that I've ever been to live. So even if this battle was half as good as it was, that would have made this list for me. And this was a clear case of what I think is the best way to have a Battle of the Year nominee. It's a 3-0 no body. And that's I think one of the key components to a great battle. I mean, this is a prime example of Chef Trez coming with 3 fantastic rounds with rebuttals and flow switches and haymakers,
And
broom
depending on who
shakers.
you ask, also round of the battle.
Yeah, right. That second round, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it a second? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you say that, still, JC elevated pretty much every round over him. It was a fantastic battle.
Yep.
It was JC's return to URL. Everything was right, and I don't really think too many people were surprised at honestly at how good this battle was.
I was surprised at how good Trez did, but
That's fair,
that was because I wasn't a Trez fan at the time. He was coming off of
right?
a weaker performance against Ryda,
Right. Yeah.
and
Okay. Did you have
I
Ryda beating Trez?
I did not care who won. Not at the time. I
Okay.
still don't, actually. Ryda's not that impressive to me. He's got bars, he's just really bland, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Right, right. Okay. So, I mean, you definitely have JC winning this battle as well, right? Do you call it 2-1 or 3-0?
30.
Yeah, okay. Even so that's crazy. We can say that Trez has the round of the battle, but still gets 30.
Yeah, and we were talking about this a little earlier. I I can cite Jonai versus Chilla that just came out as an example. Jonai had the material I liked best from the entire battle, but
Right.
Chilla still beat him in every round, clearly.
That's fair. And you know what I think is a good way to kind of highlight how that can happen is proper structure of your 3 rounds.
Yeah.
I think that will edge you, like, just the flow of his rounds was still better, even though if you take them individually, you might be able to pick out a round from the opponent and say it's actually better.
Mm-hmm.
So next on the list, probably looking at this list, my battle of the year, maybe would be JC and Big K.
Let me stop you before we go into this. Are we only counting battles that have dropped?
Yeah, we have to at this point.
All right, then we
I
gotta
think.
we gotta do something with this list.
Well, yeah, that's why I have it at the end.
All right, we'll get there.
Yeah, and that would when we get there, I will definitely put an asterisk that this may actually be my battle of the year
All
when
right.
it ever drops.
All right, I like that. All right, continue. JC and K though.
Yeah, JC and K. So we get
Oh, that's a bar. Hold on. JC and K. Let's go.
Oh boy, here we go. So we've got the return of Big K, arguably the most anticipated return, maybe the exception if there's a lot of KOTD stands waiting for Ilmac on Mass 3.
Are there?
But there definitely is. But in my opinion, the biggest, most awaited return, Big K, who we haven't seen battle since
It's been
Cortez,
7
right?
months, 7 or 8.
Was Cortez's last battle or
I
show
believe
off?
so. I believe it was Cortez.
Okay, so either way, it's been a long ass time, and we've got him going against our clear runner for Battler of the Year, clear runner for potentially Battler of last year, and someone who's just been on a killing spree. And one of the only matches for Big K that you think, okay, this guy may be able to punch back just as frequently.
Yeah,
JC,
yeah.
how do you call it? Talk to me.
Okay, I've rewatched this battle a few times.
Define a few, because if I say that and I say a few, I'm talking like 30.
I may also be talking like 30.
Yeah, okay.
And it's so fucking difficult, dude. You don't even get it. Like, the material was amazing from both sides. Both
Hmm.
sides had dope shit constantly, like front to back to front, transcribed over voice. Like, the performances were great. Big K's clowning was great, but like over time that starts to lose potency, and the stuff in JC's third that got slept on started to be more potent to me because I was like really analyzing shit. But
Okay.
I also can't say that you judge a battle completely on bars because that would make me a hypocrite. I know JC lost to K-Shine. Bar for bar, he won, but the
Right.
performance made him lose, and I have to hold that. K made JC look like a baby up there in that third, and that sucks because it's really easy to do because he's a small man. He's a very small man.
That's true. It doesn't help his case at all when, especially next to Big K, you know?
Literally big K. But
So it sounds like you're leading towards the more you watch this, the more you're edging into JC.
yeah, but I know that first watch reactions are what matters, and that's what stuck with the culture, and the culture thinks Big K won.
Okay. I mean, does it hurt you to have to say that?
Just a tad, a little bit. Not much because I'm also as big of a Big K stan as I am a JC stan,
Fair.
but it does hurt a
But
little bit.
there's a little bit of pain in there.
A
There's
little
a
bit.
sting. All right. I pretty comfortably give this to Big K. I think going into it, a lot of people were worried that if K takes that jokey joke approach at all, that it may not hit. I think he kind of went above people's expectations in that, which gives it a little bit more comfortability, giving him that third round. I think this is again another prime example of, I don't know if it's a 30 or if it's a 2-1, but another example of someone who just, as great as they came, and against anyone else it would have been enough, but Big K coming back on a return, being classic Big K, it's too hard to go against
On
it. I don't think there's
RBE at
anyone
that.
really. Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this in terms of that battle. Do you think RBE is the best place for both of them to battle?
Yes.
I,
Although I will annotate that and say that I love JC on Black Ice as well.
mm. What about JC on URL? How are you feeling about that so far?
Right now I'm loving it because he's got one performance and it's a fire almost body. Um, but the problem is Trez is not the performing class. He hasn't
Right.
gotten there yet.
That's fair. So you're waiting to see how he does against a bigger name on URL.
Not even just a bigger name. I'm waiting to see how he does against someone that's not going to try to punch with him for 3 rounds.
Okay. And has a little bit more versatility and is going to do a little bit more to him.
And what Big K showed me is that that still can beat JC. You can't outbar this man. It's
No,
not really that doable. There
no.
might be like one or two people left that could do it. I need to see him and Joe not go at it again. They battled way too early.
Yes, that would be a rematch I would like to see. I agree with you.
But
So we both got Big K taking it.
yeah, 2-1. I think JC got the first from what I remember.
Was it the first or the second?
I think it was
I
the
remember
first.
one. I remember one round of JC's being, at least debatable.
No, you know what? It was the first because the first was where Big K had like a lot of good haymakers, but a lot of filler too.
Okay, all right, fair. So we still got Big K winning. Moving into our next battle, we've got Shocks versus Soul. This was our title match on Don't Flop. That
And if you don't
Shocks
watch
ended up
Don't
winning.
Flop for anything, like title matches are usually worth it for one, but they've got at least 5 people that could murder on our scene too.
Absolutely. This battle is definitely a battle that showcases Soul and why he's the champion, and also showcases how good Shocks is for someone to finally dethrone him.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not a big person on like remembering bars, even from battles that I've watched dozens and dozens of times. But that whole like Soul hitting Shocks with like the God, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like the thunder and lightning scheme with like that's why you hear him after shot. Like
Oh, the
it
one
was the
that's
best name flip. Well, do you remember it?
I don't remember the bar, but I remember Shocks being on the Reddit being like that was the best name flip I've ever
Yes.
been hit with.
Yes, exactly. And Soul is not someone who typically I enjoy listening to in general, but you have to respect his writing. I mean, he is a genius with the pen. He
Yep.
really is.
On
I would
that
love to
note,
see him battle some of these pen guys on our side of the
I was
pond.
gonna say that as well. I want to see Soul versus Ilmac. I don't know if that's happened yet. I feel like it might have.
I don't think it has. That
I
would be like
think
a
they.
world dom style battle. I could see that happening on like a world domination.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it would be like Battle of the Concept rounds, which I want. I want that.
Yeah, that's 100% true, and it would definitely be something that would have a ton of rewatchability just to probably catch everything.
Yep.
So that I would think is pretty clearly the Don't Flops battle of the year. I mean, I know neither of us are super privy to them and stay up to date with them, but I don't think there's anything that's going to trump that.
No, Soul and Real Deal
Uh,
is good, but not as good as this.
yeah, and that leads us into Soul and Real Deal, which would be another runner-up, I guess, in that case, and just another battle to add to this list. Fantastic battle. Again, Soul. Does Soul ever not really come with it, other than maybe against Caustic?
Yeah, Soul doesn't really have bad performances. He doesn't always have great ones, but he
He's
doesn't have
just,
bad ones.
and then you have Real Deal, who might be honestly, in my opinion, one of the most underrated battle rappers left.
That's not even an opinion. That's just a fact. Like
I
you don't
mean,
see him on top 10 lists, but he's killed your favorite battle rapper at one time.
oh
or
yeah,
another.
and he may be the best angler in battle rap.
Hollow might hold that.
Yeah, okay. If we're including Hollow, I mean, if you're holding a close second to Hollow,
That's a
all
good
right.
point, though.
Yeah, he really is. I can't remember. I think I have Real Deal winning this battle, but
Oh yeah,
like
he
I
won
said,
it clear. He got it
Soul
clear.
for me is kind of hard to get into sometimes. So, but Don't Flop. I mean, two huge battles, both coming with Soul from them, but two huge, great battles this year already. And we're only into June.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where Soul goes next.
Yeah,
You
I
think they'll
mean, what does he
finally give
do?
us Soul versus Tony D?
Mm, I mean, maybe now that it's not for the chain and there's no implications of that. Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the only battles really left for him, right?
Yeah.
I see that. So now we've got our last battle on this list that has dropped, coming out from Bullpen Battle League. Shouts to them. I mean, they've definitely taken over that whole South scene, and honestly, they're kind of like one of the better leagues this year.
I've actually just subscribed to them. I'm planning on getting into their battlers soon.
Oh, I will. I will help you with that at some point. But that leads into what a lot of people have been calling the battle of the year, actually. Loso versus Bad News from Bullpen Battle League.
Now, I've heard of Loso. I will
Okay.
admit I have not watched this battle. This is the only battle on this list I've not seen.
Perfect. I mean, we could watch this after the podcast
I'm
if you
down.
want. I mean, this is a great battle. I've watched it a few times. Loso also battled Jims on Blackout 7. I don't know if you saw that battle on the pay-per-view or not. I think actually Jim's beat him, to be honest. But Loso is kind of in a group with like A Ward and those guys. He's one of
YTG?
those. I don't know if he's a part of YTG, but he's like a Christian-esque battle rapper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's fantastic. The one complaint people will probably have is the one that they have with most battle rappers like that is he has those hypothetical gun bars that, like pick a side pretty much.
Okay.
As for bad news, if you've not seen Bad News versus Shotgun Suge, that would definitely be another one I'd put on the list for me to inundate you into bullpen.
All right.
Bad News is kind of like a mini Shotgun Suge. That's the best way I can put him. He doesn't look like him. He's significantly smaller, but he is a real one. That's the way I'm gonna put it.
Really?
And
We talking like Geechee Gotti type presence, or
yeah, like maybe not Geechee because I think Geechee right now may have like the GOAT presence in that category right now.
all right?
But yes, along those lines.
Okay.
And I'll give you one spoiler alert, which I'm actually surprised. I'd be surprised if you didn't at least see this from this battle. Is he pocket checks Loso to the point where it looks like Loso, he might just rip Loso's legs off of his torso.
Really?
So Loso, there's no altercation from it, and it's fine. But yeah, he's a real one, and you'll see when we watch this battle. I'm actually excited for you to watch this after the
Let me
podcast.
pause you for a sec. I think pocket checks are corny as fuck.
I do too. I think anything that incites ruining a battle is corny as fuck. I don't even fuck with like when Show Out jumps in for round, like saying shit, like when he did that shit against Surf and stuff like that. I just don't like anything that incites ruining a battle. Like I don't think you get points for trying to be tougher than the other guy, because if I'm up there on stage and someone does that shit to me and I snap, like there's no win for me, but really like get out of my space, like I guess that's why I don't battle rap.
A little too sensitive.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
All right, but anyway, Loso and Bad News. Who do you have winning at the very least?
Oh man, I'm gonna give it to Bad News because I like Bad News's style a little bit more.
Okay.
But I think this is very easily a debatable. I wouldn't be surprised even if you watch it and say Loso 2-1. So it's just a great battle. This is one of the more debatables on our list. It's not like a clear 3-0 with both just showing out. It's just a close, great battle from two guys that were on the come up.
I've been seeing Loso's name get pushed around, so I do need to educate myself a little bit.
Yeah. Now, let's get into the last one that's on this list. It has not dropped yet. It's been on our what we're waiting for. I'm going to let you open with it because I'll just touch on the things that you don't touch on. I've watched it more times than you because the pay-per-view link still works.
Yeah, and I guess that's sort of a spoiler about it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Briz versus Ill Will.
This battle's great. I only saw it once, and I know this battle's fucking great. I need to see this. Where's it at, Smack? Give me this battle.
Yeah, he's a little slack on that. I don't even think it's going to be the first one the next one we get either.
We know how Smack operates with dropping of his battles. The best battle of the event always comes last.
Mm-hmm. I think we're more likely to get either Top and Goods next or Chess and Tay-Rock, which is another fantastic battle.
I'm fine with either of those, but I want this. Now, to go into it a little bit, Briz 30'd Ill Will.
Facts.
And again, it's
facts.
another battle where Ill Will did not do bad. Ill Will was in his bag this battle too, which is all the more crazy because when Ill Will's in his bag, he kills.
Hard to beat.
But he was killed by Briz. Briz was in a different bag. His was a Gucci bag.
Mm-hmm. Briz just has this is for anyone that and we've gotten a lot of hate on the sub for how hard we ride for Briz, I think. But I think this battle will validate so much of what we've been saying.
They have to get it after this.
Yeah, there's 3 rounds of amazingly crafted material that within each round has a splice of humor, aggression, torture bars, punches, anything you can think of in each round.
Like it's one thing to do it for an entire battle and be well-rounded, but to be well-rounded every round Not even
And
Hollow's doing that. There are parts of
no,
Hollow's rounds that get corny.
and the one thing that will go unnoticed on paper with this is for how hard Ill Will elevates every round. To see Briz come out and top that every round is an attribute in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if you remember because of how the fact you've only watched it once. Do you remember Ill Will's second?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I've been holding this from you for a while because I knew how excited you were. When we were watching that pay per view, I got back into the room right after that opening Lux concept. I've yet to
Right. So
see
you
it.
didn't hear it. Right. So I don't know why, and maybe it's been done before. I guess I'd be more surprised if no one has ever attempted it. But if they have, it certainly wasn't nearly as good as what Ill Will did. But he basically just executed the whole life would have a better chance on the bed sheet, drying Lux into his second, and did it for like maybe 16 bars, and every set of them hit so well.
That's
And it was
crazy.
so creatively done, so perfect. He even faked a choke, and the ending like haymaker of it was probably the flattest part of it, but it was so good throughout. And the fact that no one had ever executed that or done that, it was close. I was close to giving Ill Will that second round off of that
Yeah,
until, of course, Briz comes in and just again elevates above it. But that alone should have people coming to watch this battle.
yeah. I think if anything, even though it's a clear win for Briz, nobody's stock loses in this battle.
That yeah, exactly.
Which,
I think
in my
you're right.
opinion, that makes it a classic. If
I,
everybody wins, if the culture wins, the battlers both win, the league wins because it'll do great in views, this is a classic.
that's fair. I'd say revisit it in another year, see if people still enjoy it as much, and that's kind of one of the last things is whether it withstands time.
I'm
To
sure
see
it
if it.
will.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would agree with you.
The great thing about Briz's performances over the past 2 years is that there's still very few battlers that would have stood up in front of those rounds, even today, by today's standards. Which, to be fair, the standards of what makes a round good haven't altered much since like 2014, late
Right.
early 2015 maybe.
We're a little more punch heavy now, a little
Yeah,
less scheme heavy, which it's a nice era to be in.
yeah, I'd like to say that. Except for Chilla, Mr. Scheme and Punch and Scheme in Schemes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some things just don't change.
Yeah, they don't. But okay, we went through the whole list. We've talked about them all. Tell me
Yep.
what's your battle of the half of the year.
I'm gonna go with, I guess if we're excluding Brazen Ill Will because it hasn't dropped yet. I'm really torn. My favorite battle is Topper versus the Source. I'm gonna be honest with you,
All right.
just because of the whole vibe of it. The battle of the year is probably uh,
This is hard. This is really
uh,
difficult.
uh it is and it isn't. I'm torn between two. It's either JC and Trez or it's JC and Big K for me.
Yep, me too.
And I'm actually leaning towards JC and Trez, and I like that may just be personal preference because of me being there again, but I think I just enjoyed that battle a little bit more. So I'm gonna say JC and Trez.
I let me lead off and say I hate how big of JC stands it makes us seem like.
Yeah.
I really do, but I
Hey, when you're good, you're good.
when you're good, you're good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And JC and Big K are both in my top five.
Yeah, they are with me too, and that's why it took me between those two battles, it's hard for
But
me to say.
but I have to give that I think Trez would have done really well against Big K with that performance.
Hmm.
If that had been if the Trez from the JC battle battled the Big K from the JC battle, I don't know.
I think all three of those guys like had such good rounds that they're like interchangeable in terms of just the quality of the rounds.
Yeah, definitely.
So who are you giving it to?
I gotta go. I gotta go JC Trez with you, honestly.
Okay,
I'm gonna go
sweet.
JC
So
Trez with you.
we've got a unanimous here. I think that's probably a pretty popular opinion. The battle is just great,
It
and the hype
is.
of JC's return on URL and him actually matching it was even better.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think very quickly, it's pretty clear, we don't have to take a whole lot of time now that we've covered the battles of the year, the battlers of the year. I mean, just from looking at the list alone, we've got probably JC and Shocks at our top two. And, if hopefully after Ill Will and Briz drops, I think people will be a little more apt to recognizing Briz on that list as well.
Yeah,
And with a
most
Briz and
definitely.
Shocks battle coming after that,
And
I
also the
mean,
double
that's a
impact
clear
battle
three
that's
for
gonna
me.
happen. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Let's
Yeah.
not even forget that Briz still has like double impact coming up and shit.
Yeah, I think by the end of this year, we might be saying Briz shocks JC unless JC's got a couple more big battles coming up. But I think those three are pretty clear runners right now.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But
All right.
I think like if I had to pick a one, then I gotta give it to JC being the current front runner of the year. But that is definitely subject to change.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna agree with you. I mean, having JC and Trez and JC and Big K both out is better than any other two battles. I think the only person who I didn't include on this list, but it shows up twice in our top battles, would be Soul with the Shocks versus Soul and Shocks versus Real Deal. So I
And
guess
neither
there
were
could be an
bad
argument.
performances. They just weren't to the caliber of the other two.
Right, right. So why don't you lead us off in where you want to head next here? I guess we've got some battles to go over.
Um, we can let we don't even have to like change the list up any. We got a decent bit of material to go through, so let's just start with Jeffrey and Goods. Say what we got to say about it. There's not much to say.
All right, that's fair. Jeffrey versus Goods, is a one rounder that dropped last week. Was it on iBattle?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, iBattle, which I think is the league that God, what's that KOTD rapper that raps about Pokemon? He owns it
Um,
now. That
Shit,
the white guy up in front of the battle. I can't think of his name. He was on like a semi-recent card.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, but I think he's the owner of it now. It used to be a Connecticut league. I don't know if it still is or not, but it's a one-round battle. Jeffrey versus Goods. Talk about it a little bit. Lead us off.
Well, I'll say this: this battle made me a Jeffrey fan. I
Okay.
can say that confidently. And I didn't fuck with Jeffrey just because I don't like anti-battlers. I
Nope,
really,
we've
really
talked
don't.
about it before. I
Yeah.
hate him as well. Ironic battling is not good battling.
It's not funny either.
Nope.
But, let's not go into that again. We won't open that
Yeah,
box. But
yeah.
what
You
I
could have
will
me talk
say
about
is
that
that
forever.
Jeffrey did good against Goods.
He
To
did.
me,
He
that's not
sounded
saying
different.
a lot, but to other people, that says a lot.
No, he sounded different. There were people that were claiming he kind of had like a Fresco-esque flow.
I didn't
Um,
hear that, honestly.
I,
I looked
I
for
didn't
it.
hear the flow, but I hear it in the bars. His flow is so different that you really have to listen. But when he says things about like riding in a Benz and Rolly on his wrist, like things like that, like yeah, that's something that you could hear Fresco say. But Fresco would rap it so much better.
I
Um,
believe that more battlers need to flex. Too
yeah,
many
yeah,
battles don't flex.
yeah. I mean, so do you think him doing that against someone like Goods, which is obviously like the king of that, I guess you would say, was a good tactic?
If anything, I think that's the best way to battle Goods.
Is to
If
just
the
go
only
at him the
way.
same way?
Yeah, but you have to be wearing clothes to support that against someone who wears clothes to support that. Jeffrey got away with it because he's a white guy and it's funnier to hear him say these things while
Right.
very obviously not riding with them. But they were still good. It was still written pretty well.
That's fair. Um,
He had more bars than Goods had his whole round in like half of his, but
yeah,
that's just par the course
that's
for Goods.
that's what I was gonna say. That's pretty standard. Goods did have his standard. I care still a little about this battle. I'm rooting for you. Shit like that. I'm not in a one rounder. Goods is much better for me because he's not bar heavy. I'm not a big guy on swagger and presence winning over a battle.
I don't have time to get
Um,
sick of him.
Yeah, I think this is great, and really, even in one rounders, half the time, like it's hard to call a winner. I guess like you could edge it either way. I think
Don't they
Jeffrey
call Goods
probably,
the one round king?
probably, I could see that. I guess if I had to give it to one person, like edge it to one over the other, Jeffrey probably outdid himself more than Goods did, so you could say Jeffrey won that battle. It's a good look for him. It's a good look to just have a battle against Goods.
But it's still just a one rounder with Goods. So
Yeah, Billy Boondocks just had a one rounder with Goods 2 weeks ago. So what, who
did
knows?
you see that? I didn't see
I
that.
I did. It was sadly Billy Boondocks got clowned because people were just fucking with Goods even when Boondocks was rapping. It was really shitty to see. It was actually kind of shitty. That's the best way to
Not
put it.
AGL.
I think Boondocks probably could have won the battle, but people were just like Bonnie called time on him when he had 55 seconds left, and they were like,
Damn.
"Sorry, go back." And like it's worth the watch, but because it's short, it's a one rounder, but. You'll see what I mean, and it's a prime example of the things that we don't like in battle rap.
I might just avoid that then. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over
it. So there's our Jeffrey versus Goods. Let's lead into the man of the past couple of weeks. He's got a battle coming up with Reverse Live that drops Saturday. Geechee Gotti versus Stewie Newton.
Battle with Madflex coming up too.
He does, yes. He did announce he's got a battle with Madflex. He's hitting all of his guys on his side of the coast,
which I respect.
Yeah, I mean, start at home first, right?
Yep. Which we can get into Geechee versus Stewie, but I'm going to talk about that Madflex thing really quickly. One, the style clash there is very interesting. I don't know how that's going to play out on cam, for one. For two, Madflex isn't your typical white boy rapper that's like always talking busting gats or stuff like that. He doesn't really gun bar a lot. He's just a good rapper. So I'm interested to see what Geechee brings for him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how it's going to go, honestly. I think it's a very awkward style clash, and I think him and Reverse Live is too. So I think that'll give us some good insight after we see that on Saturday. I'm just kind of curious to see how Geechee approaches these style of battlers. So that being said, I think the way he approached him versus Stewie was being the realest rapper on earth for 3 rounds.
Yeah, that was... And the thing is, Stewie's not real, but his presence doesn't project that the way Geechee's does.
Yeah.
Also, listen to their names. Say their names out loud.
Geechee Gotti, Stewie Newton.
Who were you more threatened by?
A Geechee Gotti.
Exactly.
I mean, so all that kidding aside, bar wise, Stewie Newton came out and had plenty of good material.
Tons.
But especially the fact Geechee going second and Geechee being like having better bars, more people clearly on his side. Like this battle was obviously in the West. And just being more aggressive, louder, in his face, realer, however you want to put it. Like
his accent shining through really helped.
Yeah, and all that, being able to do that consecutively every round after your opponent, I mean, in my eyes, this is a 3-0 for Geechee.
Yeah, clear. But one thing we can note is that had the order of this battle gone differently, Stewie would have got round 3 clear.
Okay. I mean...
There was some gangsta self-reflection in his third, I believe.
Yep.
And that always hits better when it's the last thing you hear, especially against someone like Geechee, who's all about being the realest nigga on the stage. So,
right.
Realistically speaking, if Geechee had to go first, then we might be saying this is a 2-1 rather than a 3-0. But reality of the situation is Geechee had the better rounds, and he got to go second.
Exactly. Yeah, I think not to take up too much time, but Geechee's setting himself up to be in a really good position to go where he wants, battle who he wants, and make some noise, pretty much.
On that note, who do you want to see Geechee battle?
Well, ironically, back when I did a write-up for Geechee Gotti and Saint on the bunker battles for that pay-per-view, I had initially said Geechee versus Head Ice. Now, obviously, that's probably kind of off the radar right now because Head Ice is the champ. I know you've mentioned Calico, which is also probably off the radar just because of Calico's status, but someone of that style, I think. Oh, was that
Geechee and Suge would be fire on the main stage.
Geechee and Suge would be fire. I think
Geechee
the most
Arsenal
realistic.
too.
Geechee Arsenal would be good too. I think like unfortunately like going a little lower than like a top tier URL guy right now, but something that I could see happening on URL and then projecting him a little more. Geechee versus Snake Eyes,
Okay.
somewhere that's like like regional to neither one of them.
How about Gishi and
Um,
Gaddafi Green?
I don't really like. I'm not a huge Gaddafi fan. Like I've seen him versus Gluezy. I think I've watched him battle Excel, but I don't. He's not very memorable to me. So I think
Gishi and Glue
Geechee would
Easy.
wash him. Geechee and Glue would be significantly better. I could
Yeah,
see
I'd
Geechee
watch
versus
that.
Glue. I could see Geechee versus Jack
I was
Boy.
just about to say that actually.
Uh,
Where is
mm,
Jack Boy? Where's Jack Boy at?
where is our 2-on-2? Where
Also,
is
yes.
Jack Boy and Ryda versus Snake Eyes and Dougie? It was a fantastic battle. It took freaking 3 hours to get completed because of how many power outages we had. People were leaving. I was like, I just drove 2.5 hours for this. I'm going to kill myself. And it was worth it by the time we got to the third of Jack Boy and Ryder. They were fantastic. It's going to make so many people realize how good Jack Boy is. And now that I'm saying this, I think that is the next battle that Geechee should have if he goes the URL way. And that could lead him into something like you know, who do you give him after that? A Shug. If he put Geechee up against Shug if he wins that, and
You
then go
know,
from there.
something about Shug is that he's thankfully ascended past tiers. Can't really rank Shug. He's just Shotgun Shug. He gets paid to be Shotgun Shug now.
Yeah, and he's someone that you kind of have to battle at some point if you're trying to certify yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, I think hey, that's a good role. That's a good point. So
There are a lot of battlers like that now, which is just mostly all the old heads, and that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, the ones that aren't signed just to URL, which most of the old heads aren't, I guess. So you're right. Yeah, we've got a 3-0 for Geechee Gotti. Uh,
Yeah, pretty clear.
a good showing from Stewie, though. I mean, I'd like to see Stewie back again too.
Definitely. Although I think we might see him get like one more PG, maybe a legitimate one, because I feel like this was West Coast, was it not?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely
I
was.
feel like we might see Stewie get an actual PG, and if he kills it there, then we'll probably see him get some bigger looks. But right now, his stock has definitely dropped a tad off this. Just a
What
tad.
about like what about like a Stewie Newton versus Glue Easy?
That would be good. Where's Gluezy at, actually? Because I know when he battled Twerk, we haven't seen him since then, have we?
I don't know. He's somewhere watching Big K battles so he can get the look just right for his next one, I guess.
Talk to him.
Nah, I don't know.
Allegedly, Big K stole his style, though, so they have to see each other at some point.
Yeah, well, hopefully for Glue Easy's sake, it's from a far distance because Big K will murder that man.
You think so?
You think Glue Easy would stand a chance against Big K?
I think he could contend, but I don't think he could win.
All right, you better add that to your list of unpopular opinions for another day.
Really? God damn. Man.
Yeah, I don't see Glue Easy doing any. I mean, Glue Easy had a hard time. Glue Easy lost to Twerk, you
Twerk is
know.
good. That's not a
Yeah, but
bad
Twerk,
loss.
I don't even see Twerk doing anything with Big K. So we're on a whole nother level
I'm gonna be
already,
real with you. The URL crowd would let NJT win around potentially too with Big K, and I won't say it's because he has better punches. I'd say it because
Just his overall performance with them and
NJT's
everything.
that, and he's got like Surf. He's got the kind of treatment that Surf gets for his bars, and he's got bars like Surf.
All right. Well, I mean, we're never gonna see Big K on URL, sadly, probably, but
Oh no, we're not.
hopefully we do.
You know it's not gonna happen. They don't want to pay 10 grand for him.
Yeah, I don't know. So let's lead into a battle on Black Ice, which is nice to always see. We don't see too many lately.
Their battles are
It's coming.
always good.
Yeah, they are. And this new series that they've started here with the cage is a awesome idea.
Most definitely. Probably my
Um,
favorite venue in battle rap at the moment.
I think I would have to agree. And I think one of our battlers here especially shines in it right now. So let's lead into it. QP versus Bourne.
Which, just to get this out of the way, 30 QP. Moving on.
Ooh, you got the 30. See, I have a little bit of extensive notes here, which I'm not even going to go through totally because they're so long, and I was obviously like probably super high and just critiquing this pen battle the best I could. I think going through it quickly, to start with, there was no bad round from either side at
No,
all.
there were stumbles on Bourne's side, but his material more than made up for that.
Yeah, there was also like QP pulled out his phone in the last round briefly,
Really?
which, yeah, you could kind of take it as him kind of performing because when he brings it back, the way he like acts as if it just like hit him was actually kind of funny. Like the crowd didn't give him a hard time, but if you watch the battle, he pulls out his phone for a solid like 10 seconds to catch his place
Oh,
after like the beginning of his third,
I did
which
not
is
see
kind of
that.
why I was gonna say. And I think even like unbiased review, I think had Bourne 2-1 over QP,
Really?
which I thought kind of funny. Now I have QP winning 2-1, but I could see, I think it was Bourne second. Bourne second was really fucking good,
Yeah,
and
it
QP's
was.
second was good too, but his first was better, and Bourne's first wasn't as good. So you have one guy who was on the rise, and QP was kind of
Yeah.
coming down. So I could see that, but I still like I wasn't a hard enough critic on QP pulling out his phone.
Let me
I like
stop you.
QP's style. Yeah.
Let me stop you really quickly. We can come back to QP's bars, but just on that unbiased review thing, I take all of his opinions with many, many handfuls of salt because that man does not really respect the craft more than the performers, and that's fine. There are people like that. Not everyone's a fucking bar nerd like us,
All right. All right.
but
Yeah. I
unbiased giving it to Bourne is just I bet I could. I haven't even seen the vlog, but I assume he did for it, and I can assume it was probably just QP was indirect or his material just wasn't hidden, some shit like that.
I can't remember. I just remember that he gave him the like that's what kind of caught my attention as I was listening. I was like, "Oh wow, he gave it to Bourne." Okay. Um but like I
Anyway,
said, I mean, I could see Bourne second was really strong, and if you really want to be a critic about QP pulling out, I think that's what Chris Unbiased said was like, no matter what, like QP pulled out his phone in the third. So that
which I didn't even see when I watched the battle
yeah,
through. So
I mean, like I said, it's so if you watch it, like he definitely does it, and he even says he's like, "Oh shit, I gotta put my phone, I gotta reference this real quick. That line was too hot," and like he tries to play it like he like lost it, like was pulling out his phone, and like I don't know how he was gonna play it off, but it wasn't bad. It didn't seem to be detrimental to the round at all. It wasn't significantly long or anything like that. So it wasn't enough for me. And I'm usually pretty tough on that. I usually bring pretty heavy scrutiny to that, and it didn't bother me. So
okay,
I still give it to, I can comfortably say 2-1 QP if you want to give Bourne the second, which I think I would because Bourne's second was actually pretty solid.
all right, I can understand that. Any
Yep,
any bar? I know you got notes here. Any bar in
I do.
particular you would pick as bar of the battle?
Oh, man. Let's see. Just going through it, I think QP had like this whole scheme about Daisy, which is someone that was an ex of both of them, QP and Bourne. And like it ended with her like having her feet wet, and it was like a fetus. Like the whole scheme was incredible, and it came directly after he had an even better scheme like about dying per pen where he highlights how Bourne's basically lost to Lux, lost to JC, lost to Chilla, or keeps writing for Chilla and Chilla will never battle him, and lost to Jonai, who are all like regarded as the top pen guys, and is now losing to him.
Yeah, that was my
Those
favorite thing from this battle too.
Yeah, those were probably the two. I mean, Bourne had a solid one, like which was almost kind of rebuttal-esque, except that that QP was going to bring up Daisy about like QP holding an L and trying to control her too, and it was like a Luigi bar. That was pretty hard.
Now, let me stop you there. Is that impressive that he could have a bar for rebuttaling Daisy when
No,
it would almost
no,
be
it's
asinine
certain.
for you to not?
Yeah, that would be like QP having a rebuttal for Bourne bringing up Maury or like the back page incident stuff. It's just it's of course it's going to be referenced. It would be stranger if it didn't get brought up. So
Yeah.
no, it's not impressive in the terms of it being a rebuttal. But the line itself was pretty good. And honestly, I liked the way Bourne opened up round one, where he's talking about how he was kind of the leader of innuendo, and he goes, "We all put our careers on the line while you were snorting them." Like,
That was hard.
yeah, that was a good way to set the tone too. This was, uh, if I had to give like a top 25 at the end of the year, this would probably make it. I mean, maybe even a top 20. I've really enjoyed this battle, but I also really like QP in general.
Yeah, same.
So that leads me into a battle that wasn't really on my radar, and I had to go back and watch it today because I know that you liked it a lot. So I'm going to kind of let you take the reins on this one.
Oh, please do. Please
Yeah,
do. Franchise and Brooklyn Carter. This battle was crazy. And it wasn't
talk to
because of
me.
Brooklyn Carter. And let me disclaim, I like Brooklyn Carter. I like Brooklyn Carter versus Chess. I like Brooklyn Carter versus Illinois, which if you haven't seen that, imagine Illinois as URL Pat Stay.
Okay.
And it works real I mean like an image and everything,
Okay.
but it works. And I'm sad that I
Huh.
haven't seen him since this battle. I think he was in jail for a long time. Like he was an older URL battler, went to jail, came back, and they gave him Brooklyn Carter. I think it was a great battle, but very few people seem to agree with me. But that's neither here nor there. But I like Brooklyn Carter. And I had not had a lot of exposure to franchise. I'd heard of him. I knew he had a little bit of hype coming off some performances on KOTD. You know, Black
Mm-hmm.
Canadian with gun bars. What's not to like, right? But seeing him jump onto URL and
That
do
could be
as
you.
well, yeah, for real, right? Let's not talk about it though. Seeing him jump onto URL the way that he did, complete fire every round, barely any filler. Everything felt like a haymaker that was supposed to. He's got that real talk shit in there. He's believable. He's aggressive. He can write. He doesn't have any swagger or personality to him yet, but that takes time.
Hmm.
But for what he's got right now, I would like to see franchise versus chess. Franchise and chess would be a fire battle just based off of this.
I uh I would be cool with that. I had seen franchise I think once before when I think it was on like a KOTD GZ against A Ward.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It was a good battle. This was a totally different franchise in my opinion, and seeing this battle, I could make that leap to say, yeah, maybe him against Chess. Um, yeah, actually, that's not a bad matchup for him. The only takeaway I have from this battle was that he had a ton of like aggression, and he was like he had that like sweating in the small room, like turned up, like just kind of snapping every round. I was pretty impressed, to be honest with you.
And he
I'm not
was
a huge
dolo
Brooklyn
too.
Carter fan though. Was he? I didn't pay enough attention to that.
Yeah, no, he was by himself.
Yeah, no, I was impressed. I'm not a huge Brooklyn Carter guy. I haven't watched a ton of him. I've watched him. Did he battle JC?
Um, no, no. I'm gonna go
Who
with
is he?
no.
I know he's battled someone that I've seen that
Chess,
is like,
more than likely.
yeah, maybe that's who it was. He to me, he's just kind of like a little too monotone. There's no fluctuation or flow switch up.
I hate the way he structures his bars. I recognize
Yeah,
that they are bars because of the way he sets them up, but God, do I hate his setups.
yeah, I'm not a big fan, and I don't think I gave any round in this battle to Brooklyn Carter, to
You
be honest with
can't.
you.
You can't. This is a
No.
clear. This is a body. I'm gonna be honest with
Okay.
you. Franchise body Brooklyn Carter.
So, outside of Chess, is there anyone? I mean, I think Chess is probably a little too high for him to get next if we're
Stock
looking at like
wise, yes.
URL, right?
Performance wise, no.
Okay. Is there someone you think is more realistically on his radar stock wise?
Uh,
Maybe
some
one
of
of
the
these
new
DMV guys or something?
Ryder versus franchise.
Ah,
Eh, it
I
seems
think Ride is
boring.
more of a pen guy, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I don't
mean, I
know,
hate to say Jack Boy again, but Jack Boy
but that would
and
work.
franchise could be good. Yeah.
That would work a lot.
You could say Snake Eyes, but it depends on if Snake Eyes comes out from the supposedly Snake Eyes just had a battle, I think, where he went ham. If that's the case, then I could see that happening. If not, then Snake Eyes is not going to be in that much of a higher lane than franchise anyways. So I don't really see it being that much of a great battle for him to take.
Yeah. I don't know. There's not a lot of the new guys that fill that struggle talk, hyper aggression lane for me right now. You know, I'm sure they're
Yeah,
there. I just don't know who they are right now.
haven't found him yet. Right. So we've got one battle left that we want to go over. Another battle from Blackout 7, KOTD. Joe I versus Chilla Jones. You want to lead us off and talk about it?
I hate that I have to say Chilla won this battle because he won it clearly. And it's
He did.
not because I dislike Chilla, and it's not because Chilla's material was bad in any manner. It's just that Jonai's material was so good to me. So good.
And it
Like
wasn't
there were
enough.
layers the crowd didn't catch a lot. And I hate that. I hate bars getting slept on. I hate concepts
That
getting slept on.
that kind of seemed to be a theme at Blackout 7 too.
It's
Uh,
Toronto crowds, man.
yeah, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like
I think
I've
that is
seen
the theme.
posts from the KOTD staff about this, about how Toronto crowds can sometimes be full of people that have never been in a battle rap event before. You know, it's just like they'll be at bars or clubs or places, and people will just kind of
Uh,
walk in. I think I saw an interview with Pat Stay where he was mentioning this, and I actually experienced this when I went to the Prove Yourself slash GZ event this past weekend, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But
yeah, definitely.
there were definitely some people in there that I know have never really seen rap battles before. They liked it though. They were really
Huh.
getting it.
So see, alternatively, I saw a post I think on our sub that said that a lot of people are afraid to react because prior to all these battles, Bishop Brigante and all these guys are so hardcore on like if you talk, you're getting thrown out. There's no warnings, no nothing. But to be honest with you, I don't really see how that could be the case because I don't think that reacting and talking are correlated in the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's making that connection. So I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe it's people not paying enough attention. Maybe it's people just being afraid to react. I mean,
Or
I don't
just
know.
not knowing when to.
Yeah, I mean that could be a lot of it too. So it's clearly, are we saying a 30 for Chilla?
Almost clear 30. You can
Okay.
debate 2-1, maybe the second
What?
round.
What? Okay, the second round you think you could give to Jonai?
Yes, and
This.
that's just because Jonai has developed something that even Chilla hasn't really gotten yet, and that's a personality.
Yeah,
Chilla
yeah, he
developed
does have.
aggression and good performance. He did not develop a personality though, and Jonai has.
Yeah, no, this is a good example of a Chilla that is kind of like the prep Chilla we've seen that was really turned up and had a ton of aggression. But like you said, there still is a missing element that Joe and I has seemed to tap into of basically kind of like swagger, just kind of styling on his opponent.
Yep,
And that's deadly because Jonai is such a good writer
and
and
he can
so
swag on you
creative.
while he does it.
Yeah,
Oh, dude.
that's like to me that's you got to picture like Pat Stay level rounds where his swag rounds are just so effortlessly like flow together and still have punches, but the entire round he's still showing like how much cooler he is than you in a sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something very deadly for Joe and I to develop, and that also shows that he's still mastering his craft, which is scary in itself because Jonai is a real contender right now.
Yeah, he is. He is already one of the best writers in the game, and he's not even finished developing as a battler yet.
Right, and to segue off of saying how much of a contender he is, he does seemingly have a call out at the end of his battle from referencing Ronan Head Ice, which was going down later that night. Do you see Jonai taking on Head Ice anytime soon?
Yes, yes, I do. Actually, they've been grooming him for a title shot since he lost to Diz.
Do you think he's the number one contender?
No, I do not.
Who do you have as a number one contender right now?
Nestle, actually.
Okay, okay. I think that's going to surprise a lot of people, but I mean, obviously you're basing this off of, he had a great past performance most recently.
Andy
Um,
Ness and Mad Flex all fire every single time.
the only thing I think that is going to deter people from agreeing with you on that is the the names. And even though they're all great names to both of us, in terms of climbing a KOTD title shot ladder, Mad Flex, I guess I don't know about Pass.
He's kind of not on that ladder anymore either since he fell off in
Yeah.
2015 after ours. You make a very valid point. You make a very valid point. But under that same criteria, who would you then call the number one contender? Has anybody really been
Oh,
on a title run lately?
I don't know. I
What even
mean,
is a title run anymore? Like, who do you have to
I,
battle? There's no clear hierarchy anymore.
no, there isn't, which could be interesting or could cause a lot of chaos in something like creating a healthy narrative for a title.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea of Jonai going for it, but it's also not that far and fresh from Jonai really getting embarrassed against Diz. I'd love to see Iron Solomon, but he's made it abundantly clear he has no interest in it.
Thank God.
Yeah, I think that's probably fine too. Man, I don't really know.
There
I
doesn't
haven't
seem to be
really given it
one.
enough thought, and there
Maybe
hasn't been any.
Peanut, but you
Yeah,
know,
I mean,
with this past little bit of fuck shit, that kind of halts his momentum. But I
yeah,
felt like
there's
he
just
was
no
on the
one that's
way.
stepped out and kind of like made that clear. I'm next in line, right?
They've been trying, like Peanut and Nestle. They've both clearly expressed title intention. Same with Jonai. I feel like somebody else really surprising expressed that they wanted the title recently too.
Shoddy P.
I I can make a case for him not to be on a title run.
I'm just trying to think who else made a comment that they were interested.
Cortez, I think.
I mean, I think Cortez, as far as like resume wise,
That might
and
be the
history,
actual number one contender,
yeah.
actually.
And
Yeah.
Cortez versus Head Ice does not sound like a bad battle.
No, it doesn't. It
I'll
sounds like a
tell you
battle
that.
Cortez can win very easily.
I'll tell you that Cortez versus Jonai sounds like a crap battle to me, kind of.
It sounds like a battle Cortez will win based on simplicity.
Yeah,
But
I'd rather see Jonai versus Head Ice, but I'd rather see Head Ice versus Cortez. So let's just set up Head Ice beating Cortez in a classic because KOTD hasn't had a fantastic title match in a while. And
Ilmac
then we
and
can have
Pat being the
Jonah.
last good one.
Yeah, yeah, I think I didn't mind that one. I also didn't really mind Diz and Pat up until that wasn't a bad one. But historically, most of them have not been. They've been substandard,
Yeah.
and I
For
think
one reason or another.
yeah, there's always something that comes into play. So yeah, I mean we've covered. It was a busy week. I mean, there's a lot of battles that we didn't watch too that came out. I know there was like Relly Rel versus Big T that I didn't watch.
Which, and
Low
I bet that's
Pesci.
probably good.
Yeah, that might be something that I throw on like one night when I'm going to bed and see how far I get through it. There's a Suspect T versus Low Pesci battle. I'm just going to automatically add that to our what to skip this week because it's Low Pesci.
Yeah.
Bonnie Godiva had a battle versus VIP.
I heard that Low Pesci battle was in French or something.
Oh, okay.
That still
So you
adds
could
it to my
just
what to skip, but they're just
yeah,
noting.
you could just retreat away from that.
Ah,
Hound Dog Buck 50 versus Young Cannon. I heard was an underwhelming Young Cannon performance.
which is sad. He doesn't need those right now.
No.
Which, on that same note, I heard he 30 money bags, which to me that's not impressive because it's fucking money bags and he's terrible. But you know, to the average battle fan, money bags was dope pre-Prez battle, so that's a good look
Yeah.
for him.
So we could kind of use that as a quick segue into what we've heard from Ascension.
Yes,
Prez gets 30'd by Cortez,
so sad, so
which
expected, but so sad.
I think, as you pointed out, Cortez has been set up to only show up on the URL when it's time to kill somebody. So
It's true. Look at what he did to Cicero on Cicero's return.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
wasn't nice.
no, and luckily we haven't really had to hear from Cicero since then too.
And also choking against Bishop, which what the fuck? Bishop
Yeah,
himself, I actually talked to Bishop. Bishop himself was really fucking shitty about the fact that Cicero choked against him so hard. He said it ruined his momentum, which is he's it's right. He's true.
so,
He's right. It's true.
so we also had Snake Eyes versus Tone Montana on that card, which I heard Snake Eyes had the best Snake Eyes performance he's ever had. Tone Montana had a few slip ups in typical Tone Montana fashion, which is sad to hear. But at some point, you just stop booking this guy. I guess. I mean,
Damn,
you
do we
can't
have
do
to
it all
feel
the
that way
time.
about Clean though?
Uh,
Because they,
I'm the only thing that keeps me from being definitive on saying that about Clean is there's still so many people that come to see Clean because of Clean's performancing ability.
yeah,
And
all
I
right,
mean,
I'll
the
give you
difference
that.
is Tone Montana doesn't have that extra variable, that extra attribute.
All right, I'll give you that.
Um, I heard, let's see what else is on here. Reaper Rel versus Real Deal. I don't remember. Basically, I'm basing this off, like, mostly off of Jim's review, which if you haven't seen his podcast or his recaps that he does, Jim's is like possibly blogger of the year right now. He's just hilarious to watch. Um, Reaper Rel versus Real Deal. Yep. Dougie versus Jay. I actually heard that Jay 400 Block might have had like been the battler of the night.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yep.
all
Dot
right.
versus Mo Mula.
I
I
heard that Mo
believe.
Mula did bad. I
Yeah,
heard
and I
that
also
Dot
heard that
actually did
Dot actually
okay.
was rapping.
That I
So
don't
that
believe
would be
that.
nice. Me neither. And then what else do we have on there? Young Cannon versus Moneybags.
Wait, hold on, pause. We'll come back to that. Let's go back to
Sure.
Dot really quickly. Dot is a
Yeah.
rapper. Does
Uh,
let's say Dot develops some real fucking bars back to back,
mhm.
like Tay Rock started writing for Dot, hypothetically.
Sure. Sure.
Does Dot then become like a feared person on URL? His brand is expensive. We can't
Oh,
forget this.
definitely. Definitely, because he's already got a cult following of people that like him when he has no bars. So add in the most favorable thing that you can do, and yeah, I mean, he already has performance. He's performing like he has to have performance because he's talking shit, and add in the fact that you give him some actual content behind what he's performing, and yeah, I think he'd be a real threat.
Hmm.
I just don't think he'll ever. I mean, maybe not, but we haven't seen him in so long that yeah, I sure hope he can show up for 3 rounds and actually rap his ass off. You know?
Do you think we'll even see that battle?
Yeah, probably,
How many of the battles
probably.
on this card do you think we'll actually see, considering what we heard about someone choking in every battle?
Man, I don't know. Um,
This might be the event of vaults.
yeah, they might have to just rename it to the Vault instead, and just I don't know. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I haven't listened to enough media yet to really go too much deeper into it, but the only other media announcement that I have to touch on, and I'm sure there's people that are waiting for us to talk about it. I'm surprised we haven't mentioned it yet. The fourth announcement for Massacre 3, probably the announcement that puts me over the edge for definitely wanting to go if Big K being on there wasn't enough. Chilla Jones versus Ilmac. The return of Ilmac, the king of the dot. We have not seen him since a pretty poor performance, right?
Yep.
Would we say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
against Roan, where he lost his chain. I think if anyone stays up with Ilmac at all, he has this Behind the Bars series on YouTube, and Ilmac as a rapper is top notch.
Yeah.
His music is fantastic. I I thought that he was leaving battle rap pretty much to primarily focus on it. Now I know that he's got this battle. He's going to be in the Royal Rumble on Battle of the Z8, and I'm excited. And I think we talked about this on the last podcast. Right now, he's got one of the best cheat code elements going for him, and that's he hasn't been around. People want him to come back.
Yeah. Taking a hiatus
Um,
is one of the best things you can do for a battle career.
Absolutely. That and maybe faking your retirement 400 times. Shout outs to Arsenal
Someone wrote a
and Averb.
formula on how many times you have to retire and what your win loss ratio has to be for it to matter.
I'm sure there's a quadratic equation for it somewhere.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Um, so that being said, first, what are your thoughts on this?
I
Because I'm
have
going
a
to be
lot to
honest.
say about this battle, actually.
Let's start with this. When I first saw these two names as a matchup, I didn't really get it. I think it's a little strange just in a matchup, but
Really?
yeah, I just don't. I mean, if Chilla comes like Chilla just came against Jonai, and we have that Chilla, I think it's bound to be a great battle. And I appreciate that Chilla is a great rider, Ilmac is a great rider, but it just, I don't know. I wasn't super like, and especially in terms of it being an Ilmac return, I just wasn't super stoked about it. That's the best way I can put it. I'm sure I'll love the battle regardless. Um, I don't know. Maybe because I'm so on the train right now of wanting to see Ilmac versus Iron Solomon or Ilmac versus, I don't know, maybe even Hollow.
Eh, eh, eh.
That I don't know. That's what it is for me. I mean, I'm gonna be happy with it. I'm sure it's gonna be a good battle, and I'm excited to see him return in general. I'm a big Ilmac fan. So it is what it is. I just think that there's people that I would have been more excited, and I think Mass is the biggest card that KOTD has.
Yeah.
So for Ilmac to return and it to be against Chilla Jones, just I know what it is. I mean, my guess would be it's cheap for Chilla because he's lives in the area, and it's expensive to have Ilmac return.
Yeah.
So, that's my thoughts on it. And I'll just say, in terms of who I would call as a winner, I'm going to say Ilmac 2-1. I'll give Chilla a round because I respect his pen and I respect what he can do. And based off of the performance he just had against Jonai, he's he's got a great chance of at least taking a round. But I'm going to give Ilmac 2 rounds based off how good I think he is and just the fact that he's returning.
Okay. As for what
So talk to me.
I gotta say a
Talk
lot
this
about
shit.
this.
Yeah, talk away. I'm
People
kicking
are
back. I'm gonna hit this bong.
disrespecting Chilla Jones by
Yeah.
even
Okay.
thinking that he'd get bodied by Ilmac. First of all,
So
second of all,
am I in that topic as saying
yeah, just a
that I'm
little
giving
bit,
him one?
just a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay. I gave him a round.
You give him around, and that's fair. You're not disrespecting as hard as some people thinking that he's gonna get frickin' 30'd. But what I do have to say is that I can't think of many. Like I can think of maybe two Ilmac performances that I think would have stood up to the rounds that Chilla just gave to Jonai.
Okay. What are they?
100%. The two performances,
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
Just
K
out
and
of
Pat.
curiosity. Okay.
No, let
That's
me let
fair.
me say that three. There's three. Big K, Pat, and DNA the second time because I think they battled twice, right?
I
Or no, no, no,
don't
never
know
mind.
if
I'm confusing DNA with Roan. I mean, Ilmac with Roan, but DNA.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. So, I mean, to be fair, you're listing what the most recent Ilmax that we've seen, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I could see what you're saying. Um, I think that's probably like the unpopular opinion, I guess. But I mean, the Chilla that we just saw is a lethal battler.
yes.
So
And
I
I've
don't want to take
never,
anything from it.
I have rarely ever seen a performance from Ilmac that would be as turned up, had as many back to back bars. Ilmac doesn't scheme like Chilla does. He's a great writer, he writes amazingly, but
Hmm.
his writing isn't really current battle rap climate adapted. It's not.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I guess for me, more of it is just the strange of the announcement. But I could see the more you talk about it, I could see Chilla having a more fighting chance in this
And
battle.
even more so, let's talk soft factors. Chilla's at home. This is a
Yeah.
home game for Chilla. Have you ever seen Chilla be bad in Boston? He
I
puts
mean,
on so hard for his city.
when else have we seen him in Boston? Like, what other battles have we? I think the
Actually,
last mass didn't he battle? No, not Excel. Who the hell did he battle?
I actually don't even remember.
Yeah, I just don't know. Are there a lot of people that are like riding hard for Chilla? You know what I mean? Like
There are
in
people that do that
Boston.
anyway.
Yeah, I
Like him
guess.
against Prep, the crowd rode for him so hard in that battle.
But I mean, that's a prime example of someone that they didn't want to ride for. That's already saying like pause-worthy bars, and then Chilla coming out and really like killing him.
Yeah,
That's all factors going in Chilla's favor. Now you're going to put him against. He's not going to be the favorite in this battle.
yeah, fair.
I don't know.
If
I guess
anything,
we'll
that might
see.
help even more. Underdog factor.
Yeah, I mean that's always the you're good. It's good to be the underdog.
And people keep calling Chilla boring, but current Chilla is more interesting than Ilmac, performance wise.
Current Chilla is unlike the Chilla that gets compared to being boring and tiresome
He's not
and
there
just
anymore.
scheme. No, absolutely not.
And I think it's ignorance to call him boring now because he's updated. It's not lazy flow Chilla from back in 2000, what, 12? It's
Yeah,
been
no, you're
five
right.
years. We've updated people.
So, prediction.
I'm going to say 2-1 Chilla, actually.
All right. So that's what we've got for mass right now. As far as what we've got left for the podcast, I think we've pretty much covered everything. The only thing left would be possibly what to skip this week. And although there's been a ton of battles, and as we've said, there's a few we have not seen yet, one that I can confidently tell you I'm not going to watch is Bonnie Godiva versus Dre Dennis. I'm going to give Bonnie the clear 3-0. That's a body that I would like to see.
Talk to him.
And Dre Dennis can go back to teaching his third grade class or whatever it is that he does when he's not a battle rapper.
The one thing I want to cover before we do go off the air is I went to a battle rap event down here or up here, depending on your geographic location,
Yes,
in
you're up
Vancouver.
there to pretty much everyone.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so up here in Vancouver, it was a
Yep,
KOTD event. I think it was both Prove Yourself and GZ. Now, we obviously all know we look down upon these leagues for not having the super talented battlers. This is where people get their start. Everybody has to. You get your foot in the
sure.
door.
Got to start somewhere.
Real quick, shouts out to Lasparka and Willie B. Great hosts, great guys. I got to smoke a J with Lasparka outside the venue, so that was
You
dope.
got to La Sparka J with La Sparka?
Hey, yeah, I did. Cool stuff. Shouts out to Cope Ascetic too, because Cope had the best performance of his life this battle.
Yeah,
Dead
talk to me
serious.
about it.
He was on. He had pass level multisyllabics in one round. He had bars, punches. His presence was there. People like Cope. Cope's funny.
Yeah, okay. Who did he battle? Do you remember?
Payday. Payday, I think was the guy's name.
Okay. Did he was it a
Payday was
clear
good.
30? What was the
It
status?
was a 2-1 potential 30 in Cope's favor. It depends on how you score the third round because Payday
Nice.
turned up in his third. And to give you a little bit of insight on a Payday, he's like a less polished Pat Stay,
Okay.
but that's not a bad thing.
No, I mean that's I mean if that's where you're starting in GZ and you're getting that comparison or that someone can reference the two of you, that's a good way to start.
Yeah, exactly. And he turned up really hard in his third round. Like if he had came his the way he did in his third every other round of the battle, this would be a GZ classic, like debatable all the way through. But Cope was on his shit for the first two, like really on it.
Awesome.
So
What
if you
what
pay
was the
attention to
turnout
rounds,
like?
um, good enough to give it a pit. Good enough to give it a pit feel. There were actually some decent looking women at this event too. Strobe lights
Excellent.
help. Dark rooms help too. Um, you
Was
know,
there alcohol served? I'm
there
sure
was
alcohol
alcohol. It
helped.
was at a bar.
Okay, awesome. What
Yeah.
about as far as other names besides Cope and Payday, was there anyone that stood out to you that you want to see? That
There
anyone that
was a
reminds you of
Mexican.
anyone?
There was a Mexican dude with a lisp. His name is Creative, and he's got some pretty decent gun and knife bars. I'd like to see more from him. Uh, who
Would you say
else?
they were pretty creative? Man, I could do this all night.
Jesus Christ. I think there was a bar like that during this event too.
Oh boy.
Um, I don't remember the dude's name, and I'm really sad about this, but there was There's a white disaster clone in there
Oh boy.
somewhere.
I'm
Yeah.
sure if Cope listens to this, he'll be able to educate us.
Yeah, he definitely will. There's a white disaster clone, and he's actually close friends with one of my girls who was there at the event, who I didn't know was going to be there. Shouts out to her. She's chill. But he battled this other guy who's like Mark Grist ish. If you've ever
Okay.
watched a Mark Grist battle.
Yeah, I've seen him versus Blizzard.
Yeah.
As
And
everyone, I guess.
he's got like his kind of stature, but his writing is crazy. And he had an Eminem stand bar that the entire crowd slept on but me. And it was crazy. And I'm mad that everyone slept on it. I had to walk up to him after the battle and let him know that I got it because of how crazy it was. And I wish I had written it down or asked him to transcribe it for me.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah. If that battle ever drops on Prove Yourself, I will link you to it just to tell you about this dude. His writing's
Awesome.
nuts. Yeah. There's some real talent down here. Like, there's some potential out here. There was another person that looks like Eve Farrell's fat lesbian cousin, and I don't mean that as an insult. I really don't. But that's just the way the person looked. And they had some really good gum bars, too. It was a good performance from whoever that person was. I'm going to get these people's names. I am.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I
I
mean,
should have the card in front of
definitely,
me, actually. I wish I
definitely an
did.
event that you'd go back to, somewhere you'd go again.
Oh yeah, there's actually another event in Surrey on Friday that Cope asked me to go to, so I might roll through that. The title for Smoked Out Battles is getting fought over at this event. I don't really
Very
know
cool.
anybody on the card, to be fair, but I'm trying to get into it out here. So
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be around people that enjoy battle rap, you know?
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely nice. All right, man. Well, I think I've definitely talked probably more than I need to about everything I need to tonight.
Yeah, I feel like we're in a good spot. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. This has been Season the Podcast. This has been Vito and also my great partner Juice, and we'll catch you guys later.
See you, boys. Stay seasoned.